Good afternoon and welcome to today's Hofstra Men's Lacrosse Postgame press conference with head coach Seth Tierney. Coach, could you please give us your thoughts following today's game against Massachusetts?
Yeah, certainly upset with the final score. UMass got us in the second half there. It was a little bit of a game of runs, and then they made some plays in the second half to open it up. They got out in front of us 3-0, and we kind of answered the bell and got it to 3-2. As I told the guys at halftime, we had a play that could have got it to 3-3. There's plays that happen during the course of the game that are bigger than just a play, because it's the timing of when that play happens that can carry some more weight. And instead of making it 3-3, it went to 6-2 them. And we, you guys have the stats, the last 2 minutes of the second quarter, 3 minutes, we scored a couple goals to make it 6-5. And, at that point in time, it's a game. And then, again, lost the third quarter by a goal where we needed to win the third quarter by a goal and be at least tied up in striking distance. But going into the fourth quarter down 2, and then the fourth quarter it got away from us. We started to get a little desperate. They outshot us. The goalie made some saves, and they got us at the face-off X. So, credit to UMass in a big game. They came out with the win. Now we're probably, I don't know. I know the other games are in the afternoon here, 3:30 and 4 o'clock. We got to kind of see who wins and loses those games to see where we're at. And probably Fairfield fans right now, so that if they could beat Towson today, then maybe this last game versus Towson will have some meat on it going into the final week of the season.
Coach, before we open the floor to questions, Coach, you honored 8 graduating seniors before today's game. What do they mean to you and the Hofstra Men's Lacrosse program?
Yeah, again, we spoke a couple guys before the game. Well, I get mushy with this stuff, right? I mean, these guys, whether it's a guy like Brian McIntosh who just spent a year with us, or a guy like James Philbin or any of the others that spent 5 years with us, they're Hofstra guys, they're Turnpike guys, and when they come here, they're part of this culture. And it's the senior day. I go back every time. Maybe we should just do senior day the first game, right? Let's get it over with. Why does it have to be at the end? It makes everything harder. And then, on a day like today, it's, what's the rule? Why does it got to be at the end? We can do it in the beginning and then just get it behind us. But these guys, they deserve a lot of credit. They've done a great job leading this team, whether they were captains or not. In a few minutes, I'm going to go outside where the parents have a special tailgate for the 8 graduating seniors as well as the rest of the team. And I'm going to say some things about those 8 guys. But as I said before the game, I don't know when this is going to end. I hope that we get a little lucky in these 3:30 and 4 o'clock game, and that we get back to work Monday and get healthy and get better in the last week of the season versus Towson. And if it's got some weight to it, then it's certainly going to be a wild week, and we'll go from there.
Coach, could you talk about Griffin Turner's performance today in a crucial game? He had 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points, and can you just talk about his progression that you've seen out of him throughout the season?
Yeah, this guy Griffin Turner, he's a freshman, right? I mean, I know he's a sophomore, but he's a freshman in Division I lacrosse. We had, I'll get back to Griff, but we had 2 by Griffin, 2 by Gerard Kane, 2 by Rory Jones, and two assists from Gerard and 2 assists from Griffin. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 points came from freshmen today. That's it's awesome, but it's not the way it's supposed to be. But because of the way we are, I'm so proud of those guys, right? Freshmen in a Hofstra UMass game that's got a lot of weight and stepping up, we'll reap the benefits of that. It'll just be later on in life. and maybe hopefully later on this season. As far as Griffin Turner, he's got game. He's got game. What he lacks is the confidence, the assurance that he's got game. He's so humble. He's such a wonderful person that he needs to get, in a weird way, he needs to get a little bit more dirt under his fingers and play with not, we will never let anybody play cocky. We don't do that. We will let everybody play arrogant. But he does have to have an appropriate swagger to his game. He's got to find that over the summer, and certainly at the end of this year, because he could end up being a pretty good player for a guy that is coming from the West Coast and making an impact on today's game. And again, he reaped the benefits. He got a short stick today. Rory Jones plays on his midfield. Rory gets the pole. So there's a puzzle that goes behind it. But you need those puzzle pieces to step up. And Griffin Turner was one that stepped up.
Coach, it just felt like every time you guys got close, they just went on a run of their own. Can you just talk about not being able to get that tying going and just how frustrating it must be?
Yeah. I mean, just like in the beginning, it started out when it was 3-2, right? So you go down 3, you get it to 3-2, and you got a chance to tie it up. What does the impact of tying it up do to us in regards to momentum? And what does that impact do to them that they were just up 3, now it's all tied up, and now it comes down to one play? And can you push that domino back and let it fall in your direction? Same thing at 6-5. We go into halftime, and can we get that first goal to change the beginning part of the third quarter and ride a little bit of that momentum, ride a little bit, get the wind behind us a little bit? And, it goes back to making some plays at the time. There's plays that could be made at any point in time in the game. Some are just a play, right? A nice play. Some, wow, look at that play. That play led into this. And the timing of their plays were just heavier than the timing of our plays throughout the course of the game.
So, Coach, you were talking about this earlier in the week, how this is a little bit of a rivalry style game, and you could tell today with how physical the game was and back and forth on both sides. How did you make sure that the guys played tough, they played hard, but they didn't go out and then, kind of lost control?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I know that we were man down 6 times. The stats may be a little, I think they had a man up goal, so maybe instead of 0 for 6, they might have been 1 for 6. Again, those things get fixed in the next day or two. But I'm proud of the man down, right? Again, we'll go back and take a look at some of those penalties. And again, it's part of the game. It's not an easy position as a referee. Some of these calls are bang bang, right? And it's hard to do that. I get it. In the heat of the moment, I get crazy as well. But I thought our guys played tough. I thought as for some of those young guys out there, they played hard. They played tough. Again, we ended up on the losing side of this thing. But as I told the guys in the locker room, it wasn't because of effort. It was just because of execution today. And both of those E's have to come together. When effort and execution come in, then 2 E's equal a W. When there's only 1 E, then you risk an L.
And Coach, you mentioned earlier the 3 goals scored in the waning minutes of the second quarter. 2 of them were scored directly after timeouts. Was there anything that was said in the huddle during those timeouts that served as a little bit of motivation for those goals?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, first of all, the motivation was we were down, right? And the offense needed to pick it up a little bit. But credit to Coach McEntee, he called 2 plays, 2 offenses, and, from the moment the huddle breaks till you go out there, sometimes things get lost in translation. Today, they didn't get lost, and those guys, they got out in front of the goal and they sold their bodies to get a better look at the goal. And we called timeout because we needed the possession. Then Coach Mack has to come in and he put together 2 great looks, and then the guys have to go out, most importantly, and they have to execute. And what they did was they made a 6-2 game into a 6-5 game, and that changed the whole momentum going into halftime. Problem is, it wasn't just going to happen in the third quarter. And again, we lose the third quarter by 1. We needed to switch that up and win the third quarter by 1. So we go into the fourth quarter and it becomes a 15-minute 0-0 game.
So, Coach, coming off a loss of this magnitude, it's definitely going to be tough to try to get the guys back. How this week are you going to be able to keep them sharp and keep them motivated for what could be a very important game versus Towson?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, first and foremost, we got to let the 3:30 game and the 4 o'clock game play out, right? Let's just see exactly where we are. You know, with the world of social media, you know, you get news and scores and updates instantly. So, you know, by 6 o'clock, 6:05, we should have a better idea of what all those scenarios are. We didn't help ourselves today by getting an L. Now we've got to kind of pray a little bit that, you know, I guess because we beat Delaware, we would need them to, you know, we need them to lose one of the next 2 games so they become 2 and 3, and then our head-to-head game, we get picked over them. Now it's Towson, right? Because we had already, our Fairfield game is over. So now if Fairfield, you know, become a Fairfield fan now, if they beat Towson today, then, you know, we've got a 1 and 3 team versus a 2 and 2 team next week in Towson, and we got to win that one. And then if we're 2 and 3 and Towson's 2 and 3, then maybe we're the team that gets that last spot in the CAA tournament. But again, awfully proud of our guys. We fought. You know, again, we had no Ryan Sheridan today. He got banged up in the last game. We thought we were going to get James Philbin back. He couldn't do it. And Colton Rudd, I think, you know, you saw his arm is just hanging on there a little bit. So, you know, again, for those other guys, those freshmen, they stepped up, and we played a lot of defense today with the face-off being tilted a little bit, and some extended possessions by them.
If there are no more questions at this time, this concludes today's post-game press conference. Coach, thank you.
Thank you guys for your coverage.